Welcome to Law Next PR, the podcast where we put a spotlight on the latest news coming out of the legal tech industry. This is Bob Ambrogi, and in each sponsored post of Law Next PR, we interview a legal tech company about its latest news and developments. Today, we're going to be talking about the company Briefpoint, and in particular, its release of a new feature called Discovery Playbooks. And here to tell us all about it is Nathan Walter, the CEO of Briefpoint. Nathan, good to see you.
Great to see you, Bob. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
So tell us what it is. Tell us the news. Tell us what you launched. What are Discovery Playbooks?
So Discovery Playbooks is discovery response governance, and it's effectively a way for litigation attorneys to enforce their clients' positioning at scale or enforce their preferred work product at scale. Basically, when we look at legal tech companies and everyone's like, okay, what's the moat? And one of the moats is sort of the institutional knowledge that a firm or organizational has. Like if you are running a big corporation and you're getting sued in 1,000 different ways, you need to make sure that your responses to the discovery and all of those cases are unified to protect you against potentially impeachable response variants. Like if you admit something in 999 cases, and then in one case you have a rogue sort of denial or vice versa, that's a problem for all of those cases. And what Playbooks does is it allows you to give us the corporate positioning for any given client, and then we detect when discovery in any matter is asking about something that touches on that position, and then we automatically enforce like the pre-approved corporate positioning strategy to that. And then it also works just for attorneys that want to make sure that when their associate or support staff are doing work for them, those associates and support staff are drafting documents in the same way that they would have, with the intent of reducing the amount of redlining and review that those partners have to do.
I think it's interesting that you talk about this within the concept of governance. You're not talking about just repeating previous answers to discovery. You're talking about conforming to a preferred way of responding in particular kinds of matters for particular kinds of clients.
Exactly. Yeah. The governance component is a little bit of a service component, right? Where you can come to a big corporation will come to Briefpoint. Maybe it's an insurance company. Maybe it's just a big product liability shop, whatever it happens to be. And they say, hey, this is, we're getting questions about these types of policies or these contract provisions or this product, and this is our position on that. And then we distill that into a database, which is the governance component that then identifies when they've been touched upon and then applies that corporate positioning. The repeatability is also a component of that, of course, because what we create is a database of like, okay, these are the objections we're going to use. This is our response that aligns with the corporate positioning. And then that is repeated. There's some obvious modifications to align with the new case and the party names and everything, but it's really that first part is the key governance component where we take in that positioning and then we create a repeatable system based on it.
Yeah. So talk to me about how different kinds of firms might use this. Is it just for plaintiffs firms? Is it for defense firms? Is it across the board? Who's this for?
So it's for civil litigators, of course, but it works in different ways for different sides of the aisle. For plaintiff firms, Discovery Playbooks allows you to respond to discovery as you normally would in Briefpoint, save those responses. And then the next time you get a discovery request, it says, hey, you've already answered this question. So here's how you objected, here's how you responded, and it just repeats it. That's great for solos. And then if you get into larger plaintiff firms, you can have the partner go in there and respond as they would with their gold standard work product. And then their support staff and associates, when they're drafting, we say, hey, you just got a discovery request that your head partner has already objected and responded to in the past. Let's just do it the way they did it. And the ultimate work product that they're handing to the partner is already generated like the partner would themselves. Because that's ultimately the goal, right? The right way to draft a document for a partner is the way that the partner would have drafted had they done it themselves. That's all that, like that is the truth. So that's what we do for those plaintiff side firms. And it works for defense too. When we get into the other side of the aisle for defense, this is, hey, I have a client. They're giving me a ton of cases relating to a specific thing or interpretation of a contract provision, terms of use, et cetera. And right now, what I need to do is when I get a new discovery request, I need to look at my old discovery by hand and then find out, okay, how did we phrase this? how do we position this, and then reapply it. That's a really manual process. And then our playbook function automates that. For in-house teams, it's even more important, frankly, because they are now at the sort of command station within Briefpoint's governance function saying, this is how we respond to these types of questions. Then their outside counsel gets and has those positions enforced where they need to be enforced, which is the responses to discovery.
So this is all happening at a firm level, not at an individual lawyer level. I mean, it's happening to the individual lawyer as they're using the product, but the development of the playbook is broader than that.
The playbook is completely dynamic, right? So you can make it for just an attorney. You can make a playbook just for a client, just for a case type, just for a jurisdiction. The governance function allows the users to control what playbooks surface when, with one exception. When you're responding to, and this applies for every user in Briefpoint, when you're responding to a discovery request or interrogatory set in Briefpoint, we're automatically playbooking everything you're responding to in that document. Because like the most important thing in discovery is ensuring that your responses within the same document are aligned. So we create what's kind of like a mini playbook autonomously, passively for the specific document in case you're working on there. And then we also pull from a broader playbook that might just be for the client. It could be organizational wide. It could just be for that attorney. So there's sort of two different types of playbooks. There's like the most critical playbook, which is like the in-document uniformity of response. And there's pulling from corporate positioning or enforcing a partner's gold standard work product.
So as you're doing that pulling part of it, pulling from corporate positioning, partner work product, is that, I guess, how transparent is that to me as a user? If I'm working with that later and I want to know, where did this come from, or why am I getting fed this language? How do you handle that?
So yeah, the verification is critical, right? Like an AI is only as good as you can verify it at the end of the day. What we do is, like, number one, we pull up to 10 results from the playbook and then we order them in similarity, or in like from 1 to 10, 1 being like the most applicable, 10 being the least. So you have control and you can tab through those options and you can combine them as well. Then with every playbook item, we have a details section that shows you who created this item, when it was created, the last time it was modified, how many times it's been used, and the case and situation in which it was created. So every playbook item has a freshness score, effectively, where you can just at a glance say, oh, wait, I haven't used this. This item hasn't been used for 5 years. Maybe I should update it. And then you can go into your playbook governance tab and you can update that item. So like having that freshness is really, really, really important, because otherwise you're not really sure, it's like, oh, okay, but like, where was this? This request seems like it's applicable. These responses seem like it's aligned, but who made it? I don't know if I trust whoever made it. When was it last used? All that kind of stuff. So we show that to you so that we can like develop trust and you can confirm that this is exactly what you need.
What if I didn't want to create a playbook derived from my responses? What if I want to just kind of sit down and get the playbook created up front and then go in and start responding?
But yeah, I mean, there's two paths to do that.
Yeah,
Number one, you can just go to your playbook tab and then click create new and start building a playbook. You can definitely do that. You could also have a Briefpoint's team as a service component build the playbook for you. Like, we'll have people that have these lengthy discovery policy manuals and rules on how their firm or organization responds to discovery. And like, we just take that and we turn it into a playbook. That's obviously for larger organizations. So there's two paths to get there.
Okay, makes sense. So when is this available? What does it cost people?
So it's already available. It's added to everyone's account. There's no increase in cost. By default, everybody has 100 playbook slots that they can fill. And then you can, if you want to upgrade for like $99, you can get unlimited slots. But the core playbook functionality and the in-document playbooking, it's already part of everyone's account. It's no additional charge. It's live today.
What else would you like people to know about this new feature?
It is, I mean, my favorite thing about this feature is that what it means is, for you as an attorney, is you can object to a certain type of question one time and you do your best objections. You really think about it. You get a great response. And after you save that playbook response to your playbook, that's the last time you ever need to really think about objecting and responding to that type of question, because it's just going to be repeated over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've used Briefpoint enough, there's going to be a point, especially if you are a specialist in a specific type of practice area, there's going to be a point where you're just not getting that many novel questions. And now
Mm-hmm.
you are just fully automating your discovery responses in the exact way that you want to with your gold standard work product. And that's it. Like we're eliminating that discovery work entirely. I think that's really exciting. I also, what I also like about playbooks is the fact that it's not like, let's say you've playbooked an item that says, did the defendant work for you? And then you have a new discovery request that says, was the defendant employed by you at the time of the incident? Those two items would absolutely be connected using our playbook system. But even though they only share 3 words in common, the defendant and you. And that's because we're not just relying on textual parity. That would be too simple in this AI space. Instead, we're using large language models to create these deterministic systems that allow you to algorithmically get the fact that these two questions are actually asking for the same thing, even though they share very little in common.
Given that it's a large language model producing this, do the responses are not always going to be word for word the way you've crafted them, or are they?
So it depends, right? You can absolutely just do a verbatim response regurgitation if you want more generative functions, or you can just refer to your old response and retype it.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks, you'll be able to actually use our AI generated response, which will then like compare those things and say, okay, this is how you write the response.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
One other note,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you don't mind.
Not at all.
The playbook, it looks like it has a memory, right? Because it's like, I'm remembering that it has an old request. But we have a zero data AI data retention. So like there's no data retention. So we actually created these deterministic structures with the explicit goal of replicating what memory would give you if there was data retention without the data retention. So even though this looks a lot like data retention, the system we created gives you the value of data retention without the actual data retention. So there's still like all the security and everything else. We're not giving Altman your work product or in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's an important point. All right, Nathan. Well, thanks so much for coming on and telling us about this.
It's been a pleasure, Bob. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, and congratulations on this launch.
Thank you so much. We're really excited.
That's it for today's episode of LawNext PR. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube. Just search for LawNext PR. This is Bob Ambrogi. Thanks for being with us today.